You're tuned in to Just One Hot Mom with host Nanika Ansari. Get ready. She's about to bring you that fire, that flavor, that heat, all that passion, and more from around the world and in your neighborhood. Stay tuned.
Hotties, you know that you guys are tuned into Nanika Ansari of Just One Hot Mom, and I've got my friend here with me today, Miss Clotea Mack MEd. Hey, hey, and so I thought it was important. Clotea and I previously did a podcast called Dating After Divorce, and it was one bomb podcast. Like, I'm gonna keep re-looping that one because there were some nuggets there that if you date after divorce, when we drop those for you, I promise you, you're going to have a much happier dating life after that. But and speaking to some of the women in the group, I thought that there was another topic that Chloe and I could cover, and that's dating after distraction, destruction, or divorce, because we don't often realize that there are things that get in the way of how we're truly supposed to date, what we're truly supposed to do, how we're supposed to handle relationships with the people that we want to love. And so I thought it was important that Chloe and I covered distraction, destruction, and divorce. So I gave Chloe my definitions of what each was, but I'm just going to let her start. What is your definition of distraction when it comes to dating?
Well, I like the example that you shared, and I think it just depends on the time frame in which you are dating. So say, for example, if you are in a career path, or you're pursuing your passion, or you're living your dream, and someone comes and he's looking good and you get involved in him and you get away from the path that you're supposed to be on. So it could vary really as far as being a distraction, whether there's negative emotions there, or the relationship isn't going the way that you want it. Anything really that takes you away from the path that you're supposed to be on, and specifically in regards to dating, where it could be a man or a relationship, or even a female-female relationship, anything that takes you off focus of what you're supposed to be focusing on, that could be a distraction. So, and it's not always that it's a bad distraction, because some distractions are needed to get you refocused, but I would consider that a distraction.
So I think we both agreed on that one. Like, because I described it as like you be in the middle of being your great self. Like, you be having a moment like, yes, I'm happy to be alone and I'm okay and I'm about to grow in this moment. Yes. And so you be growing in that moment, and then there he go walking by. Or there it goes walking by,
smelling good,
looking good, and you like, oh, hey, and that distraction completely throws you off, and it interrupts. And distractions can last a long time. Ain't that the truth, Chloe? They can last longer than you thought.
Yes, and you know what? Yes, longer than what you sign up for. Here's the thing, though, too. We are innately and naturally meant to be in partnerships. That's what I think. It's they call them in the Bible, women who like, I'm not going to get married, I don't desire a man, and that's good. I think that we've taken feminism so far where it's like, I don't need a man. It's like this cycle. We've been hurt so much. We've gotten used to being independent. We've gotten used to paying the bills on our own, and it turns into, well, I don't need a man now. And so we get on this path, we get in purpose, we get in passion, then a man comes. And sometimes what may appear to be a distraction at first may really be a lesson that we need to learn. We do need relationships. It is okay to desire to want to be in a relationship with a man, in a healthy relationship. So a distraction could be a distraction for a purpose, because we get so set in what we're doing and get so, young woman, hear me roar. I don't need anyone. I'm fine alone. I don't desire anyone, especially when we're brought up in the church. It's like, oh, God should be enough. That's all. Let Jesus be your husband. You know, we get deep about stuff. You know, you heard it. That's why you're smiling. We get deep. So, you know, that distraction is our natural part. We see him. He's smelling good. He's looking good. He's saying the right thing. That's what we're designed for. That's what we're designed for. It's just a matter of making sure it's healthy. Is it healthy? Is it keeping me on my path? So that's what we have to be able to
And
define.
I think we are leading segue into the defining of the destruction, because sometimes destruction comes after the distraction. And so I told Chloe, I thought the distraction was like you are involved in a relationship that you know yourself is not healthy for you, but because we are designed, like you said, to want to be involved with other people, is that we put up with stuff like, well, I'm just gonna put up with this because this is the man for me, or you know what, we've been together for so long that you don't realize that it's tearing you down. And so that's the destruction part of the D's, is that, you know, he could be a distraction for a minute, but when it starts to mess with your psyche, when it plays with your mind, your spirit, your body, your finances, then it leads into destruction. What are your thoughts on that, Chloe?
Now, here's the thing, too. I always say this, we learn how to function in dysfunction. And I know that that was something that I learned in my marriage. I thought, like, this is if we didn't argue, if he wasn't saying anything mean to me, if we just coexisted, that is the epitome of my happiness. What I had learned to do, though, is function in dysfunction, which led to destruction. Because I was not seeing the signs. I was, like you said, we suppress a lot of things. We ignore a lot of things. God gave us intuition for a reason. That little small voice that says, no, this isn't right. Something is wrong. Ooh, this is a red flag. He gives us that voice for a reason. And so destruction comes when we ignore the signs. Because a lot of times, looking back, once we're out of it, and they always say hindsight is 20/20, we say, oh, you know what, he was like that from the beginning, or he was saying those things to me, or he was doing those things. So we like to ignore the signs because we're comfortable. Again, we've learned how to function in destruction, in this dysfunction. So destruction comes when we ignore the signs, when we ignore that intuition, we ignore that dream, that recurring dream, like, girl, get your butt out of that relationship. When we ignore what we know is true, then we wind up injuring ourselves. Yeah, he may have done something, or maybe the relationship just dissipated, but we wind up injuring ourselves and causing destruction to ourselves when we don't pay attention, not to what this is saying, but what this is saying, because we know in our heart, in our spirit, something is not right. So we got to pay better attention.
But I add this one, though, too, is that the people around you who really love you see your destruction before you see it. And you see it as them just not wanting you to be happy. But oftentimes the people around you who really know you, who really support you, who really want to see you happy, it's just that they don't know how to deliver the message that you're living in destruction. And so oftentimes we get stuck in destruction because we're stubborn, because we don't want to prove anybody right that we were living that way, that we were depressed about our situation, that we were weak in those moments, accepting stuff from a person that we normally wouldn't accept that type of stuff from. And so we have to be okay. And you know what, humble yourself and be like, yeah, you know what, I was living messed up. And you go back to them people and you have to be humble enough to say, hey, I apologize to you because you were right. But when you living in it, we all know that when somebody is living in abuse, they don't necessarily see it as abuse. And they don't necessarily see depression as depression. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not feeling good today. But so many days of not feeling good in a situation is depression. And until you can call it what it is, you're going to continue to live in destruction. I'm sorry, you know, Chloe, just to go from it. Now, no,
I like that. I like the whole,
you know,
when
we get together, you know what I'm saying?
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Just call it out for what it is, because we have so many people living in this lie because they want everybody to see them as being successful, to see them as having a successful relationship. And so when it's not successful, you are, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got the scarlet A on your chest, like you can't have a relationship with somebody. And so we walk around like that for long periods of time, living in destruction. Like you said, we live in dysfunction and we become okay with it. Now, the third D is something that Chloe and I don't think that we are celebrating divorce, but we actually are, because I think, like,
you see this face,
because divorce is the third one. And so, what were your thoughts on the definition for the divorce one when we were coming up with information for that? What did you think?
Oh my gosh. First of all, I learned a lot about divorce by going through divorce. Girl, I do not see a black ant on my wall. It is not time for ants. Okay. So divorce is like a death. The thing that I like too is getting information. A lot of times we get free when we get information. Get out of here. We get information. I didn't know. Let me go back to what you talked about, abuse. I didn't realize that I was in an emotionally abusive relationship. I was at my job and I just decided to Google it because I feel like information, ignorance is not bliss, especially in dating and relationships or any ignorance is not bliss. And so I looked up abuse and emotional abuse, different kinds of abuse, and I saw that I was in an emotionally abusive relationship. I found out that divorce is like a death. And it's kind of like losing a parent or a child. If a person has not gone through it, they don't really understand it. And you have those friends who try to empathize with you, and that is totally fine. Please support your people. They have people in your village to support you. But it is literally a death. It's the death of a dream. It's the death of what you thought would be. It's a death of who you probably thought you were, because a whole new you surfaces after. It's like, who was I? You have to redefine yourself. It brings on so many other things from childhood. It's trauma. It really is trauma. And I will say this, it doesn't matter if you were the person who caused the divorce or if they caused it. It still is traumatic. You were still one with this person, and it's like the ripping of paper. It's like your soul is being ripped apart from a person. Doesn't matter how long you were married. If you stood and made a commitment to God, it is trauma. And I don't think that people take divorce as seriously as it should be taken. And because of that, they don't take the healing process. You need time to heal. Even if it wasn't, because my girlfriends will say, well, I was in a relationship and he cheated on me and we weren't married. I said, no, I don't discount your pain just because you weren't married to him. Because anytime you are betrayed, anytime there is something that happens in a relationship, there's pain there. So I would never say, well, it doesn't matter because you weren't married and my pain is deeper than yours. But it is a trauma, and we need time to
like you need to go through the stages
in between
of grief.
relationships.
That's the honest to goodness truth. After a divorce, you need to go through the stages of grief, just like you buried it. And I mean, when you come out on the other side, 'cause I'm trying to get people to understand, like, sometimes your divorce is your freedom from distraction and destruction, and sometimes it's not. But ultimately, at the end of the process, if you're going through that grieving process after divorce, you'll determine which way you need to go. And so we wanted to give you guys some highlights for the distraction, destruction, and divorce. And so now that you know what our thoughts are, you guys, let's get into it. So I think the biggest thing about getting past these 3Ds is that people just don't know how to date. And I know that Chloe and I share like dating. We believe in dating and we believe in courting. And so, Chloe, can you give them some information on how to collect that data so they can date properly? Oh, yes, honey, I still study.
Yes. That's what my girlfriend told me. She said dating is just collecting data. I think we put so much. When I was out of church for a long time because of church hurt, and I would go into every church. Okay, I had this. It was, I can't even describe it. It was like this heaviness. It was this deep expectation that I had to know within the first visit. Is this going to be the church that I'm going to join? Okay, the choirs, and I went in with my checklist, and I was looking for this and looking for that. Nope, it doesn't have this. It was a heavy thing just to visit a church. I equate dating to the same thing. We go into one date, the first date, with this checklist. Is this going to be the man I marry? Does he really like me? Okay, I see this red flag. Okay, he has this going on. And we can't even enjoy the moment because of the list. First date, second date, we so intense. Oh my goodness, is this the one? Lord, send me a sign. If I wake up and a red car drive past, this my husband. If a black car drive past, that means he ain't the one. I mean, we are so intense, and it really is just collecting data. Is getting to know what you want. Okay, especially when you come out of some stuff, honey, you get real clear about what you want, what you ain't taking, okay? And some things you just like, no, that's we all have our non-negotiables, and I'm not saying to negate your non-negotiable list, but dating is fun. It is collecting data, but check this out, not just on him.
Oh, say it again,
you.
girl.
You're collecting data on you're collecting data about yourself. Hey, this is what I want. I like this last time. This time, this go round, I don't think I want it. So but you can't hear because you so stuck on the list. You so stuck on trying to hear, is this my husband? Well, what we gonna do? Wait a minute, let me check his socks out. Let me check his teeth out. No, that takes all the fun out of it. You're missing the purpose of dating. Collecting data on the man, collecting data about yourself and redefining yourself
And I'm about
through
to make
that
some of y'all
data.
girlfriends mad though, but tell your girlfriends that's rocking with you, throw their list out for you too, because sometimes your girls have a list who's like, remember your last dude was like this, you didn't like that, and remember this girl, you want this time. You are the controller of your destiny. You and Jesus have a conversation about what you want, what you need, what you desire to have in that
Yeah.
person. And sometimes the things that you desire and that you want are not things
Mm-hmm.
that you need. So let let that be
Ooh,
the main
ooh,
focus
ooh,
of your dating life. While you collecting
ooh,
that
ooh.
data, pray over that data so that you can be revealed to you what it is exactly that you need. Because some of us, we asking for things in a man that we don't even have in ourselves. Let's be all the way 100. You want him to have a degree, you want
See
him
this
to
alcohol?
have a house, you want him to be financially stable, you don't want him to have no kids yet. You got student loan debt out the wazoo, you got kids by different men. Like, I'm being honest with y'all, you got all these things that you're expecting him to meet your list. Now what if you don't meet his list? Let's be all the way 100, ladies. So stop having all these expectations when you don't even meet your own expectations. Now if you want to keep them expectations intact, then make
Mm.
sure you meet your own list. But it's the truth. Like, you collect that data, pray over that data, and then make a decision, because after you collect data, then you can go on to courting. And let me be honest, dating is not just collecting data
Mm.
from one person. I hope y'all know that. Listen to it again.
Ooh,
Dating is
ooh,
not
ooh,
just
ooh, ooh.
collecting data from one person. You are dating. The definition of dating is going around collecting data. That don't mean you sleep with these men. That don't mean that you do anything that you don't want to do with these men, but you collect that data. You just collect the data that you need in order to make a decision so that you can move on to the next part, which is courting. Can you give them the definitions of courting? I'm going to put on my do not disturb. Go ahead, Chloe.
Now, courting, and this, I had a Southern friend who told me this. He said, Chloe, in the North, you all skip over this stage. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what do you mean? He's like, dating is that you can date different people. You can do, like you said, collecting data from different people, but courting is when you decide to be exclusive with someone. And that is really leading towards marriage. Okay. So that's when that list comes out. That is when it's like, okay, your credit score, what are your plans for the future? That's when you decided, like, hey, he is the one, we're moving forward. So you date multiple people. I love that point that you said. You date multiple people, you reinvent, redefine yourself. But courting is, hey, this is me and you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then that's a period of time, whatever you and that person has decided. But I said this time around, I want to be courted. That is the process. And I need to Google that. Like, what do you do in courting? But that is the exclusivity. So a lot of times we are dating, but we have courtship requirements from a man. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. We're dating them, but we have courtship requirements. Why am I requiring courtship qualities from a man who I am just dating, who I am just collecting data from? Now, I was at this like singles thing, and I had this conversation. I was the only woman who thought this, because this is what they said. Now we're gonna get real right here. Well, a man could tell me that he doesn't want a relationship, but if he is acting like he does, then that means he really does. I said, now, girl, where they do that at?
He said if he
If a man
acting.
tell you he don't want a relationship,
And
right,
see,
right.
oh,
She
I'm so
said,
glad
like,
you
if you
said
walk up
that.
to me and tell me that he's not a policeman, but he has on a police officer suit, then he's a policeman. I said, no. See, that's when we
That's when
get
you play
messed
boo
up.
boo the
And then we
fool.
want to point the finger
And that's
at the
when you
man.
embarrass yourself, when
Exactly.
that man is open and honest with you and telling you exactly,
Exactly.
because sometimes they tell you straight out, sometimes they give you them hints, and you got to read that he don't want a relationship. And it may not that he don't ever want a relationship, he don't want a relationship with you. And so we have to be accepting
Right.
of that. Mm-mm-mm.
And it has to be okay, because it comes a point in time where you love. Here's what you're focused on. Here's what allowing yourself time to heal does. You get focused on really truly loving yourself and setting those standards and not budging. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a room for compromise. It's a really, really delicate line between compromising a little bit and growing with the person, and just putting aside everything that you know to be true about yourself and about what you desire. But what I can say is, I promise you, if we wait, if we learn how to wait, if we learn how to be more patient, if we learn how to date, right? Because dating is fun. And when you are dating, then you're not on the trip of when I'm going to get married, when I'm going to get married,
You
because
having
you're
a good
busy
time,
learning
honey.
yourself, learning. You're having a good time. So date. Cut it out with the, give yourself time to heal, but date. And I really believe that a lot of healing takes place through your dating, because I've been in situations, like I dated a little bit after I got a divorce. And I can honestly say that each relationship brought something new out of me. Each relationship brought another level of healing out of me. Did they last? No. But looking at your relationships, I want everybody to do this tonight. I want you to do this. The relationships that you've been in, especially ones that have meant a lot to you, ones that you felt like you've invested a lot in. Sit down and write, what were the positives I took away from this? What did I learn about myself in this relationship? Okay, it doesn't always have to be and two of them turned out not so great at all, but yet and still it's my focus. I chose to think about the lessons that I learned about love, about life, about communicating, about myself. I want everybody to do that tonight. Get that paper out, get those Kleenex out too, because if some of those things on your list, they're going to really pull at your heartstring, but that's where healing comes from. You cannot be transformed if you're not transparent.
Oh,
It is okay to say, but I was just sleeping with him. He put it on me, and it was what it was. I probably shouldn't have been distracted for that long, but it was what it was. But what did I learn from that? See, that's how you flip it to the positive. But here's what I learned from that. I cannot let the needs of my physical body override my emotional needs. And that's what we do sometimes. Because I'm just keeping it real. We let that physical override emotion, override our psychological, our mental of what we know is not right. It's so good that we like, all right, I'm willing to overlook that I only
that's
see
that
him once a month
distraction and
and I can never
destruction
go
at
to
the
his
same
house.
time, honey.
Girl, baby, listen. But think about what you learn positive from it. That's how you flip the script and take your power back, and that's
And
how you
so
heal.
I'm glad you led us into that way, because I think, there are a lot of people out here who are ready to move on in the process. They just don't know how. They don't know how to get to that healing place. Like, you in a relationship right now that you don't need to be in. You want out, but you don't know how to get out. And I'm not saying from like an abuse. I'm saying mentally, some people just don't know how to walk away. How do you do it, Chloe? Like, I mean, I know you work in forgiveness. So, and I know that forgiveness is a big piece of being able to walk away from a situation that you may not want to walk away from. And I'm not talking about forgiveness of the other person. I'm talking about forgiveness of yourself. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is you, because you stayed too long and you just feel stupid and you feel dumb because what I'm saying, like, I know I deserve better than this. I know I can do better than this. So how do we walk away from a situation that we know we shouldn't be in?
I think first is developing a plan, and that encompasses a lot, because and everybody's process is going to be different, but I would venture to say that it's very few women that can just wake up and I'm just packing up. There was still a lot of thought in that. It may look like she just woke up and walked away, or said, or blocked his number, or got out of the relationship, but there was a lot of thinking, a lot of crying, a lot of hurting, a lot of planning. I would say you have to be intentional about your exit. Okay, it ain't gonna just happen. A door's not just gonna voila and you're gonna walk out of it. Be intentional about your exit. And what do I mean by that? Get a plan. And probably the first thing in your plan is that self-love. It goes back to, some people may be able to forgive while they're in it. I would venture to say that a lot of people won't really be able to walk into forgiveness until they're out of it. But
Welcome back, honey. Welcome back, honey. I'm going to slice these videos together because we need to get it back together. So before we were interrupted by technology, the devil is a lie. We were talking about, I wanted you to go into, hold on. Oh, girl, I can't even read my own notes. About how when we're exiting a relationship, how do we go about that? Especially when, you know, you were talking about the healing process. So if you could continue there, I'd appreciate it, ma'am.
So I was talking about being intentional about the exit. Setting the date for yourself. I'm a big believer in being practical. So first of all, you also want to get people around you. You have to be, I think this is a common thread in all that we talk about, being vulnerable to people, being willing to say, you know what, it's not about them being right about the relationship. Girl, I told you so. You need to make sure you're surrounded with people who are, number one, going to hold you accountable and who are going to pull you up. You know, they're strong enough to pull you up, even if they're judging you or whatever. Because some of our family members, you're right. They are right. Some of our friends, they are right. But it's like, girl, I'm not thinking about being right. I'm trying to help pull you up. So you want to make sure you're surrounded by people who can help you exit. And then you're being accountable to them. You're getting help because sometimes it takes help to get out. And so in your being intentional, in your making a plan, making sure that you have the help that you need in order to get out, making sure you're clear. Because a lot of times, and I heard Steve Harvey say this, that when we're either getting ready to leave a relationship or when we're getting out of a relationship, we tend to think about the good times. Well, it wasn't that bad. And that keeps you going back and forth. It's what the Bible calls being double-minded. So we get real double-minded, especially right before we stick our foot out the door. Well, he is paying my bills. Well, we have been together for so long. We come up with all of those excuses. That is what your village is for, though. That is what, even if you got one good girlfriend who is like, okay, this is what you want to do, you expose yourself to her. You have to expose the hurt. And with that comes exposing the hurt. Here is what is going on in my relationship. Here's what I'm tired of. Here's what I want. You have to be clear about the goal. What is the goal? Is your happiness the goal? Are you truly happy in the relationship? Are you being loved? Is the relationship fruitful? Is it healthy? If it's your goal, because I would tell my girlfriend this, well, you know, he's going to change. I said, no, what if he doesn't, though? Can you imagine yourself with him? And this is what you ask yourself. Can you imagine yourself with that person just the way they are for the next 5, 10, 15 years? What if they don't change? What are you going to do?
I do.
And so if the answer is no, then you may need to be planning your exit.
And see, people think, they say life is short, but life is actually really long. And do you want to spend a long time being miserable with someone just because you're embarrassed and afraid? Well, I'm so glad you used that phrase. You're afraid to expose yourself, to tell the truth about what's really going on with you. See, that's the thing. We grew up in households where it was like, don't tell what's going on in this house. Don't, whatever happened in this house, don't go on outside it. But sometimes you have to tell it to release it, to get it off of your chest. I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, sometimes I have to write stuff, or I have to call Chloe up and say, let me tell you this little bitty nugget, because it ain't for me, it's probably for you. I have to get that off of me in order to be able to move forward in the direction that I'm supposed to go. So I appreciate that.
Journaling is really powerful too. Journaling, and I'm going to be on Darnella's show March 3rd talking about journaling through the journey. Journaling, because then you can go back. You know, when you get in those moments when he then rubbed you up real good or bought you a bigger ring, you go back to that journal. You're like, oh, shoot, wait a minute. Okay, this is why I need to leave this. I know what it looks like now, but underneath all the fluff, beyond the smoke screen, this is why I need to leave. So writing it down, expose, and like you're saying, even if you don't feel like there's someone, and I hope that we all have somebody who we feel like is in our corner, who's non-judgmental, who will pull us up, pray us through, be that village. We all need one person. It really, and this is a sidebar. You know what trips me out now when I hear women like, I don't need women. I don't do women. I don't have women friends. I'm thinking like, oh my
you
girl.
Lonely.
You don't have a
you
village.
Need a hug.
You don't have a village. You getting ready. Where are you going in this life without a village? Without one, at least one girlfriend who can hold you up, pray you through, who you can expose yourself to. Something is wrong. Honey, I run. When I hear a woman talking about, I don't do women, I don't get along with women, I don't have any female friends, and that is how we are made, girl. But these right here, see here, I run fast. Fast.
Yes, and so, you know, y'all know she called me Nana. So yes, but I think it's important that we surround ourselves with people who actually want to see us win. And sometimes them seeing you win is holding you accountable for when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. See, we think that all of our victory lies in people cheering us on and selling us false They selling us wolf tickets. That's what it is. So they telling you something, and I'm like, no, don't be no wolf in sheep's clothing for me. Reveal yourself, because if you really care about me and you really want to see me successful and move forward, then I need for you to be honest with me. And the thing is, ladies, is that sometimes you have to take that honesty. You have to take it to heart, and sometimes that honesty hurts. But you have to remember that if somebody is telling you something in honest and telling you in love, that they just want to see you have the victory. But you can't have victory if you only accepting the lies and the goods that they telling you. There are a bunch of people who want to cheer you on, but who could care less about what really happened to you in your life. And that's the honest to goodness truth. You really have to focus on those. I'm sorry, go ahead, Chloe.
But they will cheer you. They will cheer you on right into the pit. They'll see you getting ready to fall. Girl, yes, keep going. Girl, you should stay. Girl, work it out. Cheer you right on into the pit. The other thing is, Will Smith said this: truth is like surgery. It hurts, but it heals. So the healing may have to come through that hurt. It hurts, but it heals. And so you need someone who's going to tell you the truth. I like what you said. You got to have somebody who's going to tell you the truth.
And the thing is that none of us like to be hurt. I tell people all the time, like, I don't like to be uncomfortable. Like, who want to be uncomfortable? But I found for myself that when I allowed myself to be uncomfortable, that had the greatest victories in that uncomfortableness, because it was me pulling myself, transforming myself into what I was really supposed to be. See, transformation ain't easy. Transformation hurts. It's painful. Anybody that lie to you and be like, oh, I'm transformed, I'm a new person, and I have to go through something, they telling you a lie. Because transformation will bring you to a place and push you over the edge, and you will be falling, and you will be like, Lord, is somebody gonna catch me soon? Because you don't know, because you're going through a transformation process. But in that process, you're gonna pick up some things going down that tunnel. It's like, I want to describe it as remember when Alice in Wonderland, she fell down that tunnel? It's like that, but along that way, you just pulling up more stuff. And it's stuff that's coming for you. You got to believe, you got to have faith that the stuff that you need is going to find you. God is not setting you up for failure. Trust and believe that. He is not setting you up for failure. So you have to believe that the tools that you need, the people that you need, the relationship you want is going to be there. But first, you got to go through the process of that transformation. I ain't taking y'all to church tonight, though.
Girl, I'm gonna send you an offering. Just go ahead and leave your address. I'm gonna send it to you. You know what? I cash app it to you. You got cash app, the offering.
Now here is the other thing that came through, because we could just touch on this, because I know it's close to time. But I wanted to touch on this. What if there is a person out there who is in a relationship right now, but the person that they're in a relationship with doesn't want to be in the one with them? So you want to stay, you want to fight it out, you want to go through the transformation process with them, but they don't want to go through the transformation process with you. What are we telling those people, Chloe? Because that's a hurting feeling.
Imagine, it is. And I will tell you this. Imagine a mirror breaking and shattering on the ground, and you trying to pick the piece up and make the mirror back into the same image it was before it fell. You're going to cut yourself. It takes two people. First of all, it takes two willing people, because I have seen some relationships to spring back from some awful things, whether it's infidelity. And we're not saying that divorce and relationships always dissipate because of infidelity. It can be the death of a child, unemployment, alcoholism, drug addiction, any kind of thing. But it takes two willing people. It takes two people to say, you know what, I'm going to drop my rocks and I'm going to take responsibility for what I can do differently, instead of trying to point the finger at you. I will tell you this, right before my divorce, I was going through therapy, and my therapist said, do you know if he wants to save the marriage? And I said, no, actually I don't. In my head, Nana, and in my heart, I just thought that he was. I just thought that he was somewhere working on himself. He never gave me a clue that that's what he was doing. He never said that that's what he was doing. But because we wanted to work so adamantly, we're so passionate about it working, that's the story I had created in my head. We have to be careful of the stories that we create, because the stories we create, we believe them. And so she said, why don't you ask him? I'm thinking like, okay, that's cool, because he's going to tell me. He's going to tell me yes. Are you kidding me? 16 years marriage, 23 years together, 4 children later, 4 children later, he's going to tell me yes. I text him. I said, I need to know if you want this marriage to work. Don't worry about how. Don't worry about how we're going to fix it. Do you want to fix this marriage? Yes or no? he texted me back probably less than 15 minutes later and said no. You know, I said, oh, wow.
See, that's some truth.
Okay, know what to do with that because that hurts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what hurts more is being in a relationship where you know the other person has already checked out. So you think leaving hurts, staying, and you're the only person who's committed to change, committed to making it work. That's you picking up those itty bitty pieces of glass, trying to put it back together, getting cuts on your hand and getting shards of glass in your fingertips. You have to, this is what I do. I always say I have facts and I have feelings. A lot of times I was in my feelings, and I'm not saying that those are wrong because you have to acknowledge your feelings, but facts trump feeling. Feeling, oh wow, he doesn't want to be in this relationship anymore. That stings. It hurts. I've invested a lot. This is not what I thought it was going to be. Okay, that was our feelings. I feel betrayed. I feel hurt. I feel used. I feel misled. I feel deceived. I feel broken. I feel angry. All those things are feelings. But fact is, when you get a hold of this fact that it takes two people to make a relationship work, the fact is there's only one of us working in this relationship, and it won't work that way. So fact tells me I need to gird myself up in whatever way that means, a lot of different things for different people. I need to gird myself up and get ready for the process of departure.
Oh, I can't believe she freezed again during that. Oh, you
No,
can't. Thank you,
because
Jesus. She came back.
it's one of us working in the relationship is not going to make it work. It's not healthy for one of us to just be working. And so it's a hard truth. It's a huge pill to swallow. But for my ladies and my loves who are out there, and the man has not only told you, but he's shown you he's not willing to work for it, you have to gird yourself up. Whatever that means, gird yourself up and get ready for departure, and you can do it. You have to do it. You have to do it.
And see, you guys, so Chloe and I, this is just the mini version. There is more on the other one, and I'm sure she's going to come back on just because when we get together, it's so much fire, so much flavor, so much heat when we get together. I just love having her on. Chloe works in forgiveness, in case you guys did not know. I met Chloe walking down the street, and she was like, hey, little girl, come here. She was like, come here. And I told her my name, and she couldn't pronounce it. And she's like, hey, Nana. But I take that as a moment that God revealed to me that I needed to have Chloe in my life. Because honestly, I went to I was there by myself. I was at a place by myself, and I was walking in on the strength of like, you know what? I'm just going to walk in, and whoever, I meet, I'm going to meet. And I met Chloe before I even got to the door. And it's been a tremendous experience. But she works in forgiveness. I think, tell me if I get it wrong, it's Forgiveness Foward, correct? Okay.
Yes,
And so if you could drop that information here, because I'm sure there are some ladies right now who are listening in who need your help and forgiveness. How can they reach out to you to start that healing process and forgiveness and move on from the destruction, the distraction, and the divorce part of this dating process?
Yeah, once you move on from relationships, then the forgiveness piece is essential, because what happens is you take elements of those past relationships, you take that anger, you take that hurt into your next relationships, and really men don't know how to deal with that. So it turns into another fiasco, another destruction waiting to happen. So you can email me at liftedinlove@gmail.com. You can friend me on Facebook, Clotea Mack MEd, and inbox me. You can call me 216-255-2606. People have not, God gave me that idea, and I'll just say quickly, women are usually very hanky. They're like, a forgiveness workshop. Okay, I know I got some issues, but a forgiveness workshop, I actually give you the tools. I debunk the myths of forgiveness, because forgiveness is not forgive and forget. Come on now. Anybody who says that has never been angry, ever had to forgive anything. I tell you what forgiveness is. I tell you how to start the process, because it is a process. I share my story, but more importantly, after you take the workshop, and Nana is a part of what we affectionately call the village. And so it becomes a village of women who are on this journey to live their best lives through forgiveness, forgiveness of themselves, forgiveness of their parents, forgiveness of their ex-spouses, of their bosses. Some of them are which in relationships, but I give you tools. That's why it's a workshop. It's not a come, let's bash men. Come, let's hear all of your business. What is said there is safe there. It's a sacred place. It's a safe place. But I teach women how to forgive, and it is amazing. The transformations I've seen in women from their first workshop to when they come back as villagers and bring their friends and support the other women, just their whole countenance has changed because they've learned how to walk and live a life of forgiveness. It's not just, oh, well, I forgive the incident when I was abused when I was young. It's living a life of liberty. When you forgive, it's a very selfish act. You do it for yourself. You don't do it for the other person. And you don't need an apology from them. Oh, boy, they're about to hang up now.
You
I
do
teach
learn
the
that in the
women this.
workshop.
If you are waiting, you learn that. If you're waiting on an apology, if you're waiting on someone to make it right, you are still holding yourself hostage. You can let yourself free with forgiveness. And that's why it's called Forgiveness Forward, because we learn how to live forgiveness forward for the rest of our lives. So it's amazing. Next workshop is March 24th. Contact me and I'll let you know where it is, but it's March 24th at 1 p.m.
And you guys, I will drop the information once she releases the location for the workshop. I'll release it in the group so that you guys, if you want to, you can go ahead and attend. And as always, I told you guys that this group is not just about me, not just about me wanting to get on here and entertain you guys and stuff like that, but it really is about bringing you guys the best knowledge, the best information, the best advice that you need to help you live your healthiest life. Now, that doesn't necessarily just mean weight loss. It means the whole total package. Whatever it is that we need to get the women in our community to be strong, to show their strength, and to show the generations coming behind us that we had this and you guys can have it too. I want to offer you guys that. So you guys know how to reach me. You can reach me here in this group. Go on over to the blog at justonehotmom.com, because I promise I'm bringing you that fire, that flavor, that heat, all that sauce. And then tune in, because your girl will be on elevationsradio.com 7 p.m. every Friday, uplifting and elevating the community there. Thank you once again, Chloe, for doing this for me this evening. If there